Hello everyone, welcome and thank you for joining us for today's live presentation. Today's topic will be Improve Your Office 365 Governance with Syskit Point. My name is Patrick and I am a sales manager at Syskit, and here with me is my great colleague Iva, who will be showing you a demo in just a moment. Many of you already know us as a company, but for those who don't, let me introduce you to Syskit. Syskit is a software development company founded more than 10 years ago. We develop products for Office 365 governance and auditing, as well as administration and monitoring solutions for SharePoint on-premise. Currently, we have more than 3,000 customers in over 75 countries worldwide, and some of them are very well-known names, as you can see on our slide. We currently have 5 products, including our famous SP Docket for on-prem documentation, and of course, Syskit Point for Office 365 governance and security. Before we start, just a few housekeeping rules. All registrants will receive a recording of the session within a few days. After Iva's presentation and demo of Syskit Point, we will have a Q&A session where you can ask any questions you might have. Please feel free to use the Q&A function on the top right of the screen to ask your questions throughout the session. Please don't be shy. I will now turn things over to Iva. Iva, are you ready?
Hi, Patrick. Thank you. Yes, I'm definitely ready. Let me just share my screen. And we are ready to go. Okay, so to get us started, let's just quickly summarize what is actually Syskit Point for those who may have not tried it. So Syskit Point is a comprehensive governance solution. It's designed specifically for Microsoft 365, and it helps both IT admins, but also the owners to actually improve the level of governance in their organization. It supports Microsoft Teams, SharePoint Online, Office 365 groups, OneDrive, and all types of users. The biggest benefit that provides is actually centralized 365 inventory. It provides simplified access reporting and management, a really detailed user and admin activity auditing, as well as the governance automation. So let's take a look what's actually new in our latest version and how it can help you improve your governance. First thing that we added is actually a Syskit Point dashboard. And here's just a small sneak peek of how it looks like. I will show you in more details in a demo. So with the Syskit Point dashboard, you can actually see and keep track of your environment growth trends. So you can see the number of users, groups, sites, OneDrives, how they're increasing. But you can also detect all potential security risks like increased number of anonymously shared links or externally shared links. The tool will also warn you if you have some orphan resources, and you can immediately change it to be administrated in detail. Last part is also a process where you can see how your governance processes are going, and we will show you that in a demo. So let me just quickly change to my demo. Okay, so to take a sneak peek how this dashboard looks like in a tool, I've opened my admin dashboard. So this is a welcome home screen for Syskit Point. And you can see the dashboard right here on your home screen. Simply clicking on it, you get more details. So as I was explaining a moment ago, there are a couple of areas on this dashboard. The first part is the inventory and the growth trends. So you can easily, as an admin, see the entire environment. You can see the total number of teams, groups, sites that you have. But what's really, really important, you can easily detect all the newly created resources. So this green number, it tells me that I have the 9 new teams created in the last 30 days. The same goes for all other resources. And if I want to see more details about it, it's enough that I click on it. So by clicking on it, Syskit Point provides me more detail of what teams are those, when were they created, and I can see additional properties about these teams, for example, sharing settings that are really, really important. If I go back to my dashboard, I can do the same thing for the users. So I can keep track of how many users are actually created in my environment. And again, by simply clicking on the number, I get more details of who are those users. This part here, it tells me actually what I need to take care of. So the most important thing, of course, if you have some orphan resources, it means they're not admin. It means that you need to take care of them. So when I click on the orphan resources, the tool gives me a list of all sites, teams, and groups in my tenant that don't have any active owner. So it means that owner is either disabled or deleted in Active Directory, and nobody is having full control over this team and cannot manage settings. If you want to change this immediately, you simply need to click on a specified resource and change the owners. Action is performed real time, so you will see the changes immediately. Again, if I go back, this is the external collaboration part, so you can see all anonymous links, which we know are the most important. So again, simply clicking on them, the tool provides me a detailed list across all sites that have any of those anonymous links. Again, same principle applies. If I select something, the tool gives me automated action to actually remove those sharing links immediately. And this is the last part I was talking about the governance processes. So if you decide to use Syskit Point for the regular access reviews and lifecycle management in this dashboard, you will immediately see how those processes are going and how are your owners dealing with either security or the lifecycle of your resources. So it's really a single pane of glass for all of those who want to keep control of what's going on in their environment. I will quickly return to my presentation. So that was the first part. Second thing that we decided to do is actually simplify the automated access reports that I mentioned on my dashboard as well. So this is the second version of this feature for Syskit Point, and I will show you what changes have been made, and I'm really eager to hear your feedback. So for those who actually tried it in version 1, we would be really happy to hear your feedback on version 2 as well. So why we actually created this feature? There are some common governance concerns for all of our users when we talk to them. So of course, nobody wants to have a data leakage. There are also a lot of collaboration going on, especially now when we are all working remotely. Those external guests are necessary. Not every external sharing is bad. So you really want to enable your users to collaborate, to share, but you want to keep control over it. You need to regularly review it and remove all those unwanted or guests and external users that are no longer needed. And the last part, of course, if people are not being able to access something that they need, that's also an issue. So every lack of transparency leads to security incidents. We wanted to provide an automated process to help admins to actually improve the security level. So with this feature in Syskit Point, we are allowing you to actually include your owners into the governance. So this improves the reliability of the process. So you don't have to worry about manually pinging owners, manually sending them reports. The tool does that for you. You're continuously validating all those accesses that I mentioned and making sure that owners are removing something that's not needed and validating that the rest of the access is actually still correct. You're also deburdening your IT team because they are not aware who needs to have access where, perhaps, or they need to talk to a lot of content owners to actually gain that understanding. With this one, you're removing that part. You're giving it to the owners who actually understand that matter the most. And of course, with this, you have the written accountability of every owner that they did go through the access and that this access is still valid. Background, this is how the Syskit Point is handling. So admins need to configure the feature. So you need to choose the frequency. Do you want to do it once a month? Do you want to do it quarterly or once a year? And afterwards, they just leave the process to Syskit Point. They can easily keep track of process. And in the end, they can actually review what has been done. For the owners, the story is a little bit different. So their story starts when they receive the task to their email inbox. They can open it, it takes them to Syskit Point, and then using our new streamlined wizard, they're guided through the journey of actually reviewing those accesses and managing it if needed. If they simply forgot to do it, they will receive automated tasks as well. So what's actually new since the last version? So I will show you the screenshot in the next slide. So when we're talking to our customers, our previous version was not that streamlined. So there were a lot of options, a lot of ways to go through when you open the permission review. So we wanted to do something that's really going to guide the owners and the admins of what needs to be reviewed. Also, we added the export of all the actions performed. So we heard that for the audit compliance or for the auditors, it's really important to have a written sign of what has been done. And with this one, after the permission reviews are completed, you can simply export it and have the list of all the changes performed by anyone who participated in this permission review. We also added the changes indicator. So once your owner opens the task, if there were no changes made to those permissions, then they can simply go to the end of it. So they don't have to go through everything. The tool will indicate that nothing has changed, and maybe they can complete their review immediately. And the last part is actually that you can customize those emails that are sent to your owners. And from now on, Syskit Point will take care of all the hosting for the logos and any customizations that you add. So before I show you how it looks like now, just a quick reminder for those who actually saw it. So this is the screen that your owners would get once they open the task. So we still cover all those areas. You can still review the users, external users, changes, externally shared files, but we hope that this interface will be much more intuitive for your owners. So as I said, please contact us after this webinar and tell us what you think. And let's see how it looks like now. So I'm back in Syskit Point. I'm going to my home screen. So just a quick reminder how you actually configure this feature if you still haven't. So you go under the settings, go to the governance part, and you have a permissions review section. As I said, you get to choose how frequent you wish to receive those tasks for your owners. You get to choose when to start it. You can see how long it needs your owners to actually complete these tasks. So these dates are configurable. You can put it to 10 days, 15 days, whatever suits you. And this part about customization. So you can now easily upload any logo that you need, and you can modify it. For me, that was a Syskit logo as well, but you can change this banner as well. So whatever will make your owners feel more like at home. So you can do whatever you want. You can add custom message to contact if they have some questions. So it's basically open to modifications. The last part is actually targeting. So for this feature, you don't have to include all of your sites, but of course you can. If you want to see which sites are actually included, you simply use the preview screen, and here you get the list of all the sites and all the owners and recipients that will be participating in this review. Okay, so let's say that I, as an admin, I decided to configure this review. I will switch now to my owner's view. So you can see now here that I'm Cork, I'm no longer admin. The home screen is quite similar. The only difference is I don't have the governance, I have my task tab. So when I click on my task, I get to see that I need to perform the permission review. For this purpose, I'm going to use my QA team. And now this is the new streamlined wizard that you will get. So the first part is the overview, just to get you started to see what this team is actually about. If you forgot what it was created for, if you haven't used it for a while. So you can see the description, you can see when it was last activity, and you can even see the last comments for the last review by whoever performed it, and also type of sharing policies and privacy. When you click on the Start Review, this is the first screen that you'll get. So we decided to add a lot more filters and tiles to actually give you the most important information right away. So in this screen, you're actually reviewing your members of the team. It includes the guest users as well. So you can see that the blue or teal ones are guests. The orange ones are regular users, your internal licensed users. The dark orange are actually owners, and the gray ones are actually the ones who have a blocked sign-in in your Azure AD. If you want to see more details about each of these users to actually make some sort of decision, for example, this is my external user. If I click on Adele, on the right-hand side, as usual in our application, you get a list of suggested actions. So you can either remove it from the group, make it an owner, depending on who you chose. You can see the user activity report, but also you can immediately see some most important information about this user. So for example, for Adele, I can immediately see that she was added by Iva. When was she added, and when was her last activity? So if Adele hasn't been here for 6 months, maybe it's time for me to remove Adele. Again, I can simply click on remove from group and Adele will no longer be here. So this is the first step, just validating who are your members. The next step is the one that's really important. So this step actually includes all sharing and collaboration in your team. So by default, we will show you all items, all of your content that has been shared outside of the group. So in the first step, we reviewed the members. So of course, all the members have access to all your files. But if you shared something with somebody outside of that group, then they probably have access somewhere down the hierarchy, and that can be quite hard to find. So using this filter, you're actually seeing all the people, including external users, and users from your organization who are not the members of this team, but still have access to it. So you can easily expand it. Again, you get to see every content that's been shared. So the orange ones are folders, the black ones are the files. And when you see this little square, it means they have unique permissions. It means that they've been shared with someone outside the group. The tool will show you all types of sharing. So either one, it can be directly given or using this kind of specific sharing link. And again, it's easily removed if you wish so. So for example, for this folder, my bug reports, I have a specific link for this external user. If I click on remove sharing link, the tool will do it for me and this sharing link will immediately be removed. So if I refresh it, you can see that this sharing link is no longer here. You can do that for any content. And if you don't wish to go through all of these files, if you wish to see it like, okay, I can see all the files, but who are actually all the users that have access that are not my members, you simply change your context to the users view. So again, I'm seeing all the users outside my groups. So these are users who are not the members, but still have some sort of access to my content. If you wish to see, okay, I know that Eva has access, but where? You simply expand it and the tool will tell you all the places where Eva has access. The similar process can be done for the external users only. So using this filter, content will show you only externally shared files as well as only external users. So if I go back to here, I only see my external users. Again, if I expand, I can see more details. Once I'm sure that I review all the users, if I want to go back to the members as well, I can, just to be sure, review all users. So these are both members and users who have access somewhere down the hierarchy. This is the complete list of all the users as well as all the content that has been shared. So you can double check it just to be sure. If I click next, the tool will actually give me the list of all the changes that I performed during this review, so I can also see what I have been doing. Once the owner is done, I will now go back to my admin. So I'm back to the admin. Again, I go to my governance style. I can keep track of the progress. So I can see that only 27% of my environment is secure, which is not good, of course. And I want to see, okay, who did not perform this kind of review. Clicking on the See Review Details, I get the list of all the resources that are included in this process, that are included in the permission reviews, and I can see who completed the task and who did not. If I want to see, okay, they completed, what were they actually doing? I can simply select all the completed files, or one in particular, depends on what I'm interested in. And if I click on the view details, I actually get the list of all the changes that have been going on during these permission reviews. This is extremely important if you're doing the audit, if you need a written accountability of your owners, if you need a written sign that the audit has actually been done, so you can also easily export it to Excel. And that's it. So once more, I will be boring and say, please send us your feedback so we can improve furthermore. Let us go back to other novelties in Syskit Point. So this is actually something fully new. It's also something that our customers ask for a lot. It's called schedule report or subscriptions. What we decided to deliver is automation that you can deliver reports to the right people at the right moment whenever you need it. So it's not always easy going into the tool, manually generating a report every month or every week. So with this one, you can deliver a report to your manager, to your CSO, or whoever needs to receive the information at the right time. You simply configure it and the tool does the rest for you. You can choose the frequency. So you get to choose how often you wish to send those emails. You get to choose delivery method. So you can either send it to someone's email, or you can send it to a document library and store it there. We also provide PDF and Excel, so you can choose the format, and you can choose if you want to send it report by report, or you can add multiple reports to one subscription. This feature is available for admins and collaborators, that is team owners, so they can easily receive any updates on their environment as well. Let's take a look how it looks like in the tool. Again, I'm back to my Syskit Point. There are multiple types of subscriptions that you can do. So the first one is that you can actually schedule a view. So for example, for me as an admin, I really want to receive the list of freshly created teams. So I will go to Microsoft Teams and Groups. I will select the predefined view, recently created groups. The tool will show it what's that currently. So what are the recently created resources in the last 30 days. But if I want to receive that more often, I simply click on the schedule report button. You can see there are two options. The first one will create a fresh subscription, so only this report will be here, or I can use the add to existing subscription module. For this part, I will create a fresh subscription. So new teams, I will name it new teams. The frequency can be weekly. It will be sent on Mondays. If you want to select the format, then use format settings. You can also change the attachment name. So by default, it will be the name of the report as it is in Syskit Point. You can always add some notification to make sure that you know what this report is actually about, and you can change the report format. I'm happy with Excel, so I'll go back to my schedule and delivery. And now I get to choose how I wish to deliver it. Of course, you can choose both methods, but for this part, I'm only going to send it to admin of that. So you can see that as I'm typing, the people picker will immediately give me the option to select some of my users. Of course, you can send to multiple emails and you can add some custom message again, just to make sure that this is a valid email, not some phishing or a spam. If you decide that you want to upload it to document library, you simply enter the URL of that library. So for this part, I'm just going to use email delivery. When I click schedule report, that's it. It means that every week on Monday, I will be receiving recently created teams in my environment. If I want to see all the subscriptions that are in my environment, click on the view subscriptions, and the tool presents me a nice list. And it tells me, okay, which subscriptions do I have? If I expand it, I can see the reports that are part of it. I can also see what is the recurrence for each one of those, what's the delivery method, and who are the recipients. If I want to modify any of those, by simply clicking on the checkbox next to it, you get, again, additional options like in everything in Syskit Point. So you can either edit some settings, or you can even pause it. So if you pause it, it means that the subscription is created, is still here, but it won't be sent until you unpause it. Other way to see those reports is also using the profile. So when you click on the schedule report, you'll get the same screen. Since I'm the admin, I can also see all subscriptions in the tenant. So if your owners created some reports, some subscriptions, you will be able to see it here, and you can even filter by a user who actually created something. For the owners, they can only see their own, so no worries, they won't be able to see if you created some subscription or not. Okay, so this is the first part. You can schedule a view. A second part is that actually you can schedule any Syskit Point report. So if I go to the report section, and let's say that permission metrics is the report that's most popular, I will filter by Microsoft Teams, go back to my favorite QA team, and run the report. Once I run the report and see what it has for me, what's providing, so I can see who has access to what. Again, using the schedule button, I can schedule this permission metrics report to be sent to my inbox or any document library. So the process is the same. It's only a matter of how you get to the report. Give it a try, and again, please do send us feedback so we can improve this feature as well. Okay, going back to the presentation. This is actually the last section for today, for the 2020. We added a lot of improvements in the access management and reporting area. I will name all of them and later on show you a couple of them in the demo. The one that's really important is the copy and transfer action. So Syskit Point provides a detailed user dashboard, as you know it. And with this new option, copy permissions or transfer permissions, Syskit Point will also allow you to copy permissions from any users to another user or a bulk of users, and they will receive all the same memberships, site admin privileges, directly given permissions, and SharePoint group memberships as the source user. Just to note, access given through sharing links won't be copied because that's something that's particular to that person, and OneDrive permissions won't be copied, as same as the Active Directory groups, because those are more, let's call them more secure, and that needs to be handled differently. So with the copy and transfer, you will be dealing with group and team memberships, site admin privileges, directly given permissions, and SharePoint group memberships. So with the copy, you simply you copy the permissions from the source to target user. But if you decide to use transfer option, transfer means that Syskit Point will remove all the permissions from your source user and only grant it to the new users. Transfer is, let's say, much more used if you're doing the offboarding. And in that case, we also added the block sign-in option. So you can, of course, block sign in for that particular person and then use transfer or copy to grant it to some new colleague or colleagues who are working in the same team. So it saves you a lot of time and manual work just with a couple of clicks. There are other improvements in this release as well. So we modified and improved our user access report. And we try to make it more easier and more understandable to owners, so you can now understand how that user actually gained access. We added the distribution group support. That was quite a lot of asks from our customers. We added the hub site support, created the SharePoint groups report. You can manage sharing settings directly from Syskit Point now. So immediately when you see it on our sites overview, you can change it as you see fit. We added additional options for the audit reports and allow you to actually see and explore all your external users by a certain domain, which we all know that's really important. So I will go through all of these improvements in a short demo as well. let me just go back to the tool and let's start. So I will start with my users, and my favorite one is Quark Blanc, so I will open it. This is the user dashboard. It will give me the list of teams and group memberships that Quark has. It will also give me the list of all the places, all types of sites where he has any kind of access. So he doesn't have to be a member or owner. This is just a list of all the places where he can access and collaborate on your content. So for the first part, you can see that under teams and group memberships, we have new icon. It's green. If you hover over it, it says distribution list. So for every user, you can now also see not only Microsoft Teams groups, not only Office 365 groups, but also which distribution groups he is a part of. If I want to explore how the new user access report looks like, then simply by clicking exploring, you will see that tool is opening a detailed user access for Quark. User access report crawls your entire environment. It goes through all sites, all groups, including OneDrive if you included them, and it tells you a detailed list of all the places where he has access. So these are the sites where he has access. You can see immediately what type of access, how did he gain it? So was it through group? Is he a member? Is he the owner? Is he the admin? Or are those maybe even directly given permissions? So if I expand administration and my folder documents, then I can see that on this legal file, he was actually given directly permissions. So again, like in every other Syskit Point report, if that's not something that I see fit, I can immediately edit those permissions. And for example, I want to see it set to contribute. If I click save, Syskit Point does everything in the background. And once it's done, it will send me a notification. Once the action is performed in Syskit Point, by simply refreshing, you get a latest status of your report immediately. You don't need to sync anything. You don't have to wait for anything. Syskit Point will give you the updated version right away. So you can see that Quark's permissions on my legal file are now contribute. And also you can see the details. So if I'm not dealing with given directly permissions, I can immediately see how he gained access, for example, to my engineer. So he's the member of the team. I can see if that's maybe through Office 365 groups or through some, as I mentioned, sharing link or given directly option. If I go back to the users, I will select a new user, for example, Draymond. So he doesn't have OneDrive, and he's Quark's employee. So again, the same principle applies. He has the same dashboards as Quark. You can see where he belongs, which groups and teams. You can see which sites he's a collaborator of. And you can see this new button, copy user permissions. So when I click on this, it means that this user, Draymond, will be used as a source, and I get to choose to whom do I wish to copy those permissions. We'll type Bruce Lee, and when I do that, it means that everything that Draymond had, when I complete this action, Bruce will have as well. If you recall, I said that there is also a transfer option, so I won't be doing that because I want Draymond to still have his permissions. I only want for Bruce to gain his memberships and his access. If I click on copy permissions, again, Syskit Point will do that in the background, and you will actually be able to see what has been changed once the action is done. So if you want to see what actions have been performed, so I'm not sure if you noticed, so you click on this bell icon, you can see view all actions, and then you as the admin can see all the actions that somebody performed. So for example, you can see that I already copied some permissions for Draymond to Bruce Willis, and you can see to which sites and groups did he actually gain permission to. Okay, so that's the part about the users, about copying and the new user access report. What we also added are some improvements to the sites. So let's start with the site overview. we decided to add, and this was also frequently asked, so can you actually tell us which sites are connected to a hub site? So now on your site's overview, you can easily add those columns. So these columns is hub site and hub title are not here by default. You simply click on the column chooser and you can actually modify this view as you see fit. So I decided that I want to add those two options, and then you can easily filter by some particular hub, for example, financial, and you'll get the list of all the sites that belong to it. And then you can easily select them all and do all the reporting or do the same management as you wish. If I want to go back, so if I want to again see all the properties of my site, we have this sharing settings from the beginning. What's actually new in this version is that now you can manage it directly from here. So again, using the filters, you can find everything that you don't like. And if you see some risky activities like giving the anyone access to some particular team, so let me just remove those and I will filter all teams. And I can see that they're all configured good except my QA team. So if I click on it, I can immediately change those sharing settings and change it to new and existing guests right away from here. You can do it for one site or you can do it in bulk. It doesn't matter. You can immediately change it. What's important to notice is that we will definitely respect your tenant global settings. So if you are not allowed to share anonymously, you won't be able to share it through Syskit Point as well. Okay, so I will again go to my QA team to show you another novelty. So this is a SharePoint site connected to my QA team. You're familiar with the overviews, you can see the permissions, some basic analytics and usage. But we had a lot of customers who are actually actively using SharePoint groups, and there is no easy way to actually explore those in Office 365. So we created a new report. It's called SharePoint Groups. When you click on it, you will get the list of all the SharePoint groups that have any kind of access to my site. If I go back, I can do that for the site that's not connected to team. You can again see that SharePoint groups report, and you can see that for this site that's not connected to teams, there are a lot of more of those. Of course, if you expand it, you immediately see all the members. Even though if those are Active Directory groups like here, so the green ones, again, you can expand them as well. And you have everything about your SharePoint groups and, of course, Active Directory groups in one report. I will now go back to my reports to show you other novelties. So I mentioned that we added a domain for the external users. So if I go to my external users report, you can easily filter you can group by either name of that external user that you're interested in, or you can now group by the domain and see which are actually all those domains that have access to your environment. I'll return the domain here and show you how easily you can actually filter by any of those domains to figure out, okay, who is actually logging, who is able to connect from this BlueWorks domain. There are some other novelties in this section as well. So this is a really good feature that was requested by our customers as well. So in our previous version, when you were using site permission changes, so the report that would show you all the changes collected from the audit logs, you were not able to filter by user. So now, when you select all your teams, for example, so I want to keep track of all the permission changes on my teams, you get additional filters. So for example, I will do it for the last 30 days. You can do it for custom period. It can be more than 90 days, regardless of your Office 365 license. You can filter by specific activity. So you can find specific activity that you're interested in. But what's really important, you can now filter by user type. So you can either do it for all external users. For example, if I run the report, these are all external user activities in my environment on those selected teams in last 30 days. So now I can easily again filter by any kind of action that's available here. You can do that for a specific user as well, and you can do that for your file and page activities report as well. So now I'm on my file and page activities, the same principles apply. If I select some team, again, going back to my QA team, you can see the same filters. So doing it for the last 30 days or custom period, and I want to see it for a specific user. So again, I just start typing, and if I select it, it can be multiple users as well. When I run the report, the tool will show me all the actions that Iva did in last 30 days, regardless my content on this QA team. Again, you can easily find which actions did she did, and of course, did she maybe download a lot of files? If I filter by download file activity, I can immediately see what did she download. So this is the item column. So a lot of changes, and what's even more important is that we are already working on some new ones. So this is just a short, not so short list of all the features that we are planning to add. So the first one will be the access review templates. So as you see, we are constantly improving that feature. And in our next review, you'll actually be able to configure your access reviews on a different schedule. So depending on the sensitivity of that site or group or team, some sites and teams will be able to be reviewed more frequently, some less frequently. So it all depends on the policy that you will set up. We are already working on alerting. So based on all audit events, you will be able to receive alerts if somebody shared externally immediately when this action happens. And what's also important, those alerts will be available for your owners as well. So if somebody wants to keep track that every content is on its place and it's not shared outside the firm, then you can receive proactive alerts. We will be doing adoption and usage metrics. So sensitivity labels integration, additional governance rules enforcement, additional license usage reporting, provisioning, and much more. So we are always happy to hear your feedback on all those planned features. Contact us. You have these emails. You can either contact our support or sales. We really want to hear your input because we want to build something that's useful and not just something that we find useful. So please send us your feedback. That's really, really appreciated. And that's it for me today. We can go back to Patrick and our QA session.
Okay, thank you, Iva, for the great presentation. Now it's time for our Q&A session. As a kind reminder, for who arrived a bit later, you can use the Q&A function on the top right of the screen to ask any questions that you might have now, and we'll be happy to answer them. Yeah, let's answer the questions that we receive anonymously. So thank you for the person who sent this question. So Iva, if you're ready, the question is, who can access the team's governance part of the tool, the admin or the team owner?
So if the question is who can actually configure and see the progress and the results of the governance part, that's only admins. So only Syskit Point admins can see everything, while team owners and site owners can only see their own resources and only their own tasks. So they won't be able to see the overall situation of that governance process.
Okay, yeah, great question. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, so another usual common questions that we hear from customers is regarding the permission reviews. Can I change the frequency for permission reviews?
Yeah, that's definitely one of the frequently asked questions. As I mentioned in our plan activities, so that's actually something that we don't have currently. We only have one frequency, but in our next version, you will actually be able to create the policies. So each policy can have different frequency, different number of days when something is reviewed, and then you can apply those policies based on some criteria, and each team group or site will be reviewed on those policy regulars. Yeah.
Okay, great, thanks. Yeah, so we just got another question anonymously, so thank you for the question. Yep. So the question is, so we will log, of course, the team changes and additions. The question is, will it also log the channel changes and new channels?
Yeah. So our audit log report will definitely show you what has been changed in your team. So for the admins, you can see everything. In audit logs, you can see if there are some newly created teams. You can see if some settings have changed. You can see the overall environment, and your owners can see those changes for their teams. Yeah, they can see if a channel has been created, if somebody added an app. So everything is visible. Everything that's available in audit logs, you will be able to see in Syskit Point as well.
Great, thanks, Iva. So the next question we just got from David, thank you again for the question. Can group members, not the owners, review also the permissions?
So by default, Syskit Point, it of course depends on you. If you decide that you want to allow your collaborators, how we call them, site owners, to participate, they can review the permissions. What you can do, you can also add full control members to review the permissions as well. So not a regular member who only has contribute or read, he cannot do a permission review, but any member that has full control permissions can be included in permission reviews as well. What we would like to hear is, if you have a reason for your members to do the permission reviews, please send it, and we will definitely put it on our roadmap and discuss it internally.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Iva. Yeah, so who didn't manage to raise any questions, of course, we're going to share some contact details. So also, David, you can reach out to us with more questions regarding that, and we would love to hear more about it. Okay, yeah, so currently we don't have any new questions. So I believe there is also another common question. Who can block users from signing in?
So this block signing action is available only for the admins. So owners cannot block users, only admins can do so.
Okay, great. All right, yeah, so we just got a couple of new questions. Let me go through those. So yeah, do I need a specific M365 license, or will Syskit Point work with any plan?
Syskit Point works with any plan, so you just connect your tenant, it will crawl your environment and give you the reports that I showed you just now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Yeah, I believe we can run this last question, and then of course we will be happy to continue answering. So don't feel free to reach out to us later on as well. So how frequently the SharePoint permissions changes reflect in the Syskit dashboard? Is it immediate or a daily basis?
Yeah, so how Syskit Point works, it has a continuous crawl. So automated crawl will happen once a day. It will impact the dashboard. But if you wish to refresh any of your resources, if you want to have the latest data, you can actually sync all of those or some of those whenever you want, and the changes will be reflected on the dashboard as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great.
Great questions, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much for the interactive questions. So yeah, much appreciated. Okay, yeah, so I believe we will be reaching out to any additional questions we receive, of course, later on. So we also will be happy to share some contact details. So yeah, I believe we can wrap everything up. So once again, thank you all for joining us for today's session. As mentioned, everyone who is registered for this event will receive a recording of the session within a few days. If you have any further questions regarding Syskit Point or any of our products, please reach out to us using our sales@syskit.com. And it was a pleasure having you all here. See you next time.
See you next time.